This morning on Summer Spotlight, we highlight new tools in officers' toolkits. Michigan State Police recently released their new sensory and communication toolkits to help officers better interact and help people with disabilities. Now, for the last several months, you can see here, Berrien RESA and MSP, the Niles Post, have been collaborating to create these kits with various tools and items to better give officers and civilians with intellectual, physical, or other disablements peace of mind when interacting with one another. We know seeing the red and blue can be a little scary sometimes. So joining me this morning live, we've got Tina Lawson from Berrien RESA, who helped make these kits a reality. Thank you so much for waking up with me.
Well, thank you for having me.
Now, this is new to me, Berrien RESA. Can you tell me a little bit about what you guys do?
Okay. So in Michigan, Berrien RESA is Berrien Regional Educational Service Agency, also known as intermediate school districts across the state. There's about 56 of us in the state of Michigan.
Wow.
And we service our county. So any district that's within Berrien County is who we work with. We have 15 local districts, non-public schools, and about 3 public school academies.
So you guys go right into the schools and kind of help educate?
Well, we provide supports.
Okay.
So services that we provide could be related to teaching and learning. I'm the director of special ed, so we help with working with special education, and I work with all the directors and coordinators in the county. We also have early childhood services. We also have transition services, different types of personnel that support the needs of our local districts and the students within them.
And it sounds like you're kind of creating those bridges between, you know, the people that know and the people that maybe don't know. And I love that's kind of the idea here for our toolkits. Not everyone is perfectly equipped right out. Hey, how do you interact with someone who's maybe a little differently abled than you are? Mm-hmm. And I love that you had a hand in creating these toolkits. Where did you get the start, the idea for a project like this?
Well, there are times that we interact with police officers. And so when we do, we realize that maybe they don't always understand the different levels of disabilities. And so we wanted to help make that connection and help provide some kind of support. So we did an initial training with just the sergeants with the Niles Michigan State Police Post. I actually happen to know First Lieutenant Carlisle, so that helped out. I reached out and said, hey, let's connect. And so we did our initial training, and then we talked some more afterwards, and it made sense for us to look at what else could we do to help provide support. Students or children that have disabilities out in the community, when you approach them or you're interacting with them in some way, how can we help bridge that? How can we help make sure that they can handle that situation? Because typically when a police officer is involved, it may not be the best situation. Mm-hmm. And so we wanted to help provide that. So I pulled a team together. That team thought about what could we help provide. So they looked at both visual and sensory supports.
And that's some of what you brought in this morning.
Absolutely.
So can you walk us through a little bit of some of the different items that are in these toolkits? So right now, MSP Niles Post has some of these bags now sitting in their cars with things like this, a sensory communication kit. And what else do we have working on here?
So some of these tools are just to distract the students, get them out of that situation. So fun, this is a newer one this year we found. Just gets them something to interact with, get their mind off that situation.
I recognize the little pop socket, yes.
Push ball. And then if you ever face a student who may have autism or they have some sensory issues, they cover their ears, they're struggling, they can't handle the sounds, especially if there's sirens involved. So the headphones would help them be able to handle that. So you can usually tell when they start covering their ears.
And you said that you know some of these officers, the sergeant there that you worked with.
Mm-hmm.
What was that training received like? How did you receive kind of what the police officers learned from this?
So we went in that day and we did a PowerPoint presentation, but we also spent some time giving them some analogies, helping them understand when you're working with a child that has a cognitive impairment, they are not going to be maybe at the same level that they may physically look. Mm-hmm. And so how do you make sure that you communicate with them in a manner that makes sense? And so we talked to them about simple directions. One step, don't make it more than that. We spent some time talking about the different disabilities, the characteristics of those disabilities, so it helped them understand a little bit more, but then also some of our legal requirements as a school.
Well, thank you so much for walking us through kind of what this looks like and how it can be played out into action. Tina, thank you so much for being with me this morning. And ABC 57, our viewers, please stick with us. You can always head to Berrien RESA with all the information you need. Otherwise, it's under the Spotlight tab.